Hey there folks, this is Lucifer Legaborn coming back at you with another video. I'm gonna move this camera here because I don't feel like looking up at it. So, I got a commenter today, and his name is Costas Demonos, and he calls me a fake. He's commenting on my Joy of Satan video, where I had investigated Joy of Satan and pretty much called them out on some of their BS. Honestly, in his comments, he came off much like a Joy of Satan commenter and a very poor punctuation and whatnot. But that's neither here nor there. He was sitting there calling me a fake, and I'm like, why should I care? Honestly, why should I care about what you think of me? And well, I thought he was just another troll and everything, and because I checked up on his name, and I found out that he had only made his channel less than an hour before. So here I am. We've exchanged a few comments back and forth, and I call him out, and I say, listen, why should I care what you think of me? What do you have that, I should really care about? Do you have some sort of grand revelation and whatnot that, will change, show me the error of my ways? And I pretty much gave him the ringer right there. I mean, you get a person coming onto your channel saying the shit he was and whatnot. What are you supposed to expect? Well, so I take another look at his channel, and he's actually posted a video. So he's not just a troll, all right? And in the video, he calls himself a Luciferian. So this is going out to Demonos, Costas Demonos, or whatever his name is. Sorry for calling you a Joy of Satan member if you're not one. But, that's the way you were coming off. So, here we go. In his video, he's talking about people being fake, and in his comments, he was saying that he's dealt with fakes like me before. Well, clearly he hasn't dealt with a person like me before because, well, I'm anything but fake. Anybody who's watched my channel, watched my videos, and whatnot will know that I'm the farthest thing from a fake out there, and in the world of Satanism. I've been a Satanist since 2007, 2008, and just really, can you lick any louder? She's grooming a paw. Anyways, seriously. Peanut gallery. Anyways, so I've been a Satanist for well over a decade, and even before then, I was a Wiccan high priest, and I studied Alexandrian Gardnerian style Wicca. And I was into that for a decade as well. So I've got well over 2 decades worth of active occult experience, closer to 30 years, because I was studying various religions and occult stuff even as an early teen. I started actively looking into Wicca and the occult by the time I was 13, 14. So I'm now like 38 now, and so you do the math. Okay, I'm almost 40 years old, and I've been in this for the better part, of my life. So he's sitting there, he's calling me a fake on it just because apparently he got miffed. I don't know if it was in the comments section of the video or if it was in the video itself. I didn't review the video. I didn't bother looking back at the comments. I really don't care. But apparently, in this video, he really latched on to the fact of people who have near-death experiences. Well, I must have mentioned somewhere that I had one, because obviously my video or whatnot, or somewhere in the comments above his, I had mentioned that I had one, and I wasn't going to go into it, especially there in the comments section. And so I left him a comment on his video saying, hey, is that seriously the only reason why you call me a fake? Because I didn't want to express what my near-death experience was? I mean, if that's something you really want to know, ask me about it. You know, I'm not going to sit there and in a comment section that really has nothing to do with it go into detail about a huge, big, long experience. Yes, it was a very important experience to me because it moved me away from Christianity. It actually pushed me to Christianity very heavily. And then what happened in Christianity is I saw what I had experienced was telling me the truth, and I pulled away from it and I started studying other religions. So, yeah, and I know I got this weird glow shit going on here. I got one of my window curtains open on this side. So, yeah, I'm getting sunlight, from the western sunset coming in. As everybody who's been watching my channel knows, my new house is actually completely aligned up with the polar north and the compass points and whatnot. So I actually get perfect sunset light coming in, sunrise light coming in from the other side. Really interesting. But that's not here nor now. This guy, he's going off. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to leave a link to his channel in the description down below. I told him if he doesn't like me, he can block me. He's not going to take any skin off my nose. He's not going to hurt my feelings in any way whatsoever. I've had to deal with people like that all my life, and especially being on YouTube for well over a year, I've had plenty of people be mean to me, try to troll me and whatnot, and it's like, whatever. Now, what makes him different is I don't think he was actually trying to troll me. I think he actually got upset with the fact that I didn't want to go into deeper detail in a situation that really didn't call for me doing it, and he got mad that I didn't do that. So, if that's the case, I'm sorry. And that's where this video comes in. I've spent 8 minutes building up to this. So, what was my near-death experience? Let me explain something to you. You see these scars? These scars right here used to go from up here down to here. I was a little boy when I got them. And what gave them to me was a Great Dane. Okay? Her name was Kelly Girl. And she was my grandmother's dog. And she bit me by accident. She had recently been hit by a car. She was sore on the paw. Other than having a hurt paw, she was actually fine. We were laying down in the kitchen area of my grandparents' house, and I had my shoes on, and I was laying next to her, and I was petting her. Now, Kelly Girl and I, we grew up together. We loved each other, and, we were the bestest of friends. Well, I accidentally hit her sore paw, and she yelped. And as a dog is wont to do, they're going to snap in the direction of something that's causing them pain. Well, it just so happened that my head was in that direction, and if anybody, I don't know, I know some people have never really seen a Great Dane in person, but they're huge. They are the tallest of the Mastiff breeds. They've got massive mouths, big voices. Kali over here sometimes gets mistaken for a Great Dane, even though she is nowhere near that size. So Kelly Girl got me on the face. One tooth went over my eye, popped that out, gutted my nose, gutted the inside of my upper lip, and the other tooth actually punched through the skull bone into the temporal bone. and hooked a portion of my brain matter and pulled it partially out. It didn't remove it totally, but it did give me some damage there as a child. As a result, damage that I have nowadays from this injury is I'm partially blind in this eye. I really don't have very good peripheral vision there. I can still see out of it, but I don't really have much peripheral vision. I don't know what other damages I had. I know for a while there, something in my brain got damaged that when my adrenaline started. It used to be that when my adrenaline started getting going, it wouldn't shut down. I would have to really focus on shutting down my adrenaline. If you don't know what adrenaline is, it's something that if you go jogging for a while and you start feeling really winded and suddenly you feel really good and you feel great and you feel like you have enough energy to keep on going, that's what adrenaline does. It also gets released for the fight or flights traits in your head. When you're in a really scared state, your adrenaline will get you going. It's what gets your heart pumping and everything. So something happened in my head that that doesn't shut down when it gets going. Now it doesn't really affect me now in that way. Now that I was like 8 years old when that happened. So we're talking an incident that happened 30 years ago. So what happened was on my mom and my grandmother took me to the hospital, and en route to the hospital, I passed away. I passed away from severe trauma and blood loss. They were working on me. They got me into the hospital, and they worked on me for a number of minutes, and apparently I had been DOA, dead on arrival, for over 20 minutes, which is well past the point at that point in time of a person being brought back, especially a child. And during that time, in the drive when it actually had occurred, I remember myself floating outside my body and looking down at the car, and I could see the scenery around me as the buildings and other fields and whatnot passed by, because we were in Houston at the time. It's on the way to the hospital, and I started drifting upwards away from it. I don't remember ever getting to the hospital or anything like that, because at that point I had turned and it was just this big black void, and I could see things in it, things that, as even to this day I really can't fully describe. But this void, I best describe it to people as, if you watch the Insidious movies, it is like what they call in the Insidious movies the further. I call it the umbra or the between. I've since learned a lot more about this strange little area, but this is where everybody initially lands, apparently, and what happens there is you call out to whomever and you get whisked away to your next point, quote unquote point, by whatever deity that you honor. And so as a child, I really don't remember what was happening, but I remember something pulling me, and I remember seeing this really cold, almost laser blue light in a tunnel fashion. It was really, really, I guess the best way I can describe it is go watch the old Highlander TV series, and in the opening credits you see this weird laser tunnel type thing, and it was something similar to that, and I was floating down it. I wasn't walking or whatnot. I was traveling down it, but I'd get to the end and it's this blinding white light, and suddenly everything's really cold. I mean, like, imagine the coldest winter up north. And when I say north, I mean you're going past Michigan into Canada, up into the tundra, North Pole type shit. It's sub-zero temperatures, and it was just this vast white plain of like ice and snow. That's where I landed. And what I encountered there was really interesting because, mind you, I was only 8 years old at the time. And what I saw was the gods, all the different gods from around the world. You're talking the Egyptian gods, Norse gods, Hindi gods, Pakistani gods. They were all there. Gods that I had never even heard of or known about were all there. And this woman, dressed in beautiful silver armor, white cloak, sword at hip, flaming red hair, comes walking up to me, and she puts her cloak around me, and she starts walking with me, and we start talking. All the gods are talking at me, but no one's mouths are moving. Okay, but yet everybody's talking. Okay, and you can understand everybody. And this is when I realized something about where I was. Is that this was the afterlife, and what I was seeing was my own correlation to these beings, or their own projections of themselves to me. So I would see gods like Ganesh, Kali, and Osiris, Set, and all these other beings, so on and so forth, etc., etc. And I could hear them, I could speak with them, and but most importantly was this woman whose name was Erin, and she was a goddess. She was originally a living person, apparently, and this was how she projected herself. And so she takes me to this big chasm, this great big chasm, a fissure in the ice, and I'm looking down, and it's this floating mist in there, and suddenly images started appearing in it, and I see this man, this guy, um, sitting, and he's naked. He's on a throne, light all over him. I mean, this golden light. It was really beautiful, but something was really wrong, and he was bald. He was completely plate bald on his head, no hair anywhere, and he had this really vicious, cruel expression on his face. And there was these people, nude, all around him, serving him, and his higher ups. I mean, he had other beings with him that were also luminous and whatnot, and I knew exactly who I was seeing, and it confused the hell out of me because this was God. But he wasn't nice. He wasn't friendly. He wasn't. He, I grew up at that point singing Jesus Loves Me. I grew up, believing God was good and everything. And so when I saw this, it shook me. I couldn't believe it. I refused to believe it. But yet I knew it was right. Now I looked around at all the other deities, and I realized that there was one that wasn't there. One other one that was not there, and it was Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. These beings weren't there. They were elsewhere. Everything that you might think was a demon or a whatnot that was not a previously a god but was an angel or a fallen angel was not there. But yet I could sense their presence elsewhere. And I look up at Erin, and she tells me, remember this, that this is the truth, and that I wasn't meant to die at that point, that I needed to go back, that there was something that I needed to do, something very important. And she took me back through the other gods, and all of them were telling me, remember, remember, remember. Remember my experience there. And I have, ever since that day. I came back, I woke up on the table in the emergency room with a sheet over me, and switches being clicked, and I woke up crying, and all hell broke loose. Uh, Apparently, my adrenaline gland kicked in, along with epinephrine and whatever else my body was shot up with as a kid on the ER table. And I proceeded to come flying off that gurney and turned into an 8-year-old Incredible Hulk until they finally got me put back down with sedatives. And here I am today. I became a very staunch Christian for a number of years. I learned the Bible forwards and backwards. I didn't want to believe what I saw. And I expressed what I saw when I woke up to my dad and my grandparents from Scotland. And some of it shook them. And they started regaling me with some family legends about things that they thought I would find interesting, which I did. But, you know, what is the most interesting is as I was a Christian and I started going to church 2-3 times a week. I mean, I was very devout. I was fanatical, actually. I started seeing what was wrong in Christianity, what was wrong there, and I moved away from it. I started pulling back. I started studying other religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, and I found out about these gods that I had seen, and I recognized them, and I'm like, yes, I know this deity. This is correct. And it started proving to me what I saw wasn't fiction. And I eventually became a Wiccan, and I apprenticed for 3 years to an Alexandrian Gardnerian coven. Worked my way up and was a Wiccan for 10 years, and eventually I found Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible. I read that, and I realized that's what I was. That's what I had been living my life as, and I became a Satanist. And I've been a Satanist ever since, and I've been really happy with myself being a Satanist. Now, that all being said and everything, the reason why I don't normally tell this story to people is, how can I expect anybody to believe it? This is an incident that happened to an 8-year-old child. Okay? I am now a 38-year-old man. And what happened to me as a child, it can't fully be explained. It cannot be proven rock solidly unless a person has actually experienced it themselves. So, I give usually the barefoot details and whatnot, and I tell people I'm not really going to go into details because this is something that you need to experience for yourself. I don't want somebody following me around just because they say, oh, I've been dead before. This is what the afterlife is like. I know what the afterlife is like. But in my opinion, for other people to know what it's like, they need to experience it. Now, you can learn how to astral project and visit portions of it. But to truly go deep really requires you to really die. I was dead. I was dead for 20 minutes. I came back on my own. The doctors had pronounced me. They had given up on me. They were switching off the machines. They had been switching them off for like 5 minutes. I had been left alone on that table, covered for 5 minutes. And when I came back not because of what they did, but because I was sent back. Not by a loved one, not by a family member, but by something beyond my explanation. That's my story. Now, Demonos if that's what you wanted to hear, if that is the explanation you wanted to hear, what I had to say, what I experienced, if that's what you wanted to hear, in order for me to prove that I am not a faker, there you go. I hope it makes you happy. But I'm going to give you this cautionary word of advice. Just because someone doesn't want to explain something because they want to keep it private doesn't make them a faker. It doesn't make them fake. You say you've encountered people like me. You haven't encountered anybody like me before. You're wanting to sit there and say, fakes run their mouths. Okay, I can agree with that. A lot of them do. Some of us, though, some of us real ones also talk on YouTube because we want to educate people. We are part of a religion that is feared. And with good reason, because the Christian church has told so many BS stories about us. It has been ingrained into our families that the devil is bad, that Satan is bad, that Lucifer is bad, that we're going to go out there and we're going to sacrifice children, cut off chickens' heads, and pour blood all over virgins and whatnot. And they're going to think that we breed babies just to sacrifice. This is the bullshit that they expect out of us. So, some of us, myself, Venus Satanas from way back when, and whatnot, and a few others, make YouTube videos explaining things, talking about things. Now, some of us can explain things a lot better than others. But that doesn't mean that we're any more or less fake. Now, I am an ordained minister. I am converting my house into a black house. I am what is called a pre-1975 LaVeyan. You call yourself a Luciferian. Now, what is the difference between a pre-1975 LaVeyan and a Luciferian? Well, one follows Anton LaVey's strict scriptures, but adds a connotation of theism to it. I actually do believe in a Satan and whatnot. A Luciferian follows Michael W. Ford, generally speaking. They read a lot of Michael W. Ford's works, and they are good works. That's some good reading right there. And you want to know something? Aside from the author, they're almost identical. It's just an approach. So, Demonos, Costas Demonos, watch who you call fake. You watched a video where I was criticizing Joyous Satan. I told you go review my whole channel. Something told me to tell you to go review my whole channel before passing judgment on me. You didn't. And now you look like an idiot. You made your channel, literally my video about Joyous Satan pushed you to make a channel and upload a video and leave a bunch of comments in a thread on my video because I pissed you off in one video. And you sit there and you call me a fake. Anyways, that's where I'm going to leave this off. It's been a 30-minute video. Thank you all for staying with me this long if you have. So, tell me what you think in the comments down below. If you like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button, and share this video with all of your friends and family or whatnot. Anybody who you think might have an interest in it. And until next time, this is Lucifer Lake of Orden. The real deal. I'm out of here.